Hi, I'm Marina J, and I help amazing people like you truly flourish after narcissistic abuse. Yes, it is completely possible when you've come out of surviving. Now the next stage is truly flourishing. You can work with me privately. I've got classes and courses below this video. You can come and check them out. Something I want to ask you. Are you having relationships and friendships that are truly nourishing to you? Do they feel like the family you've always yearned for? Or do you feel like they're not narcissistic, these relationships that you're in, but they don't feel so good either? They're not really fully what you thought they were going to be. Here's what I see. I see a lot of my clients, and myself included, I've definitely had this experience where we're no longer in these narcissistic relationships, right? We've walked away, but we're in these quasi relationships, which are not narcissistic, but it's still mostly all about them and not about us. So just see if you can relate to this, because this is how we go from surviving narcissistic abuse to flourishing, is recognizing what these flags are. There are still some red flags that we don't even realize we're accepting because they were normalized for us in childhood. They were normalized for us with the narcissist. And so we still think that this is what relationships are. I'll tell you what relationships are, and I'll tell you what relationships are not. Relationships are an add to your life. They're an add to your happiness, your glow, your warmth. They should make you feel warm inside. What they're not is a drain. What they're not is exhaustion. What they're not is you having to try and overgive and overdo to keep or maintain them. Relationships actually aren't hard when you're with the right people. When you're with the wrong people, it doesn't matter how amazing you are. It doesn't matter how much healing you do, how much affirmations you have, or any of that. If you think that this is all you deserve, you're going to stay in it, and you're going to keep working with these relationships where you're doing all the work and they're not. That's what a relationship is not. A relationship is both of you doing the work. And by that, I don't mean sitting there and stressing out and arguing and talking things through. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about each side sees what's happening, goes away and heals it within themselves so that they can come back fresh and new, right? That might be shadow work that you do. That might be work that you do with a coach or a counselor, a psychologist, or whatever it is. But relationships shouldn't be work. They shouldn't take work. When you're with the right people, they're just an absolute joy. And you may have had experiences in your life where you might have somebody at work, somebody that you know, where it's just effortless. It's just easy. These are your people, right? If you have to work really, really hard and you're not getting anywhere and you're doing all the work and the other person is just coasting along, you've got to ask yourself, wait a minute, is this one of those quasi relationships, right, that Marina was talking to me about, where it's not narcissistic, but it's still draining? So here's what a quasi relationship can feel like, can be like to be in. It feels like you're making all the effort. It feels like when you're with them, you're both interested in them. You're both interested in maybe organizing an event to see each other, but neither of you is interested or talking about you, right, in that interaction. And if you talk about you, they start to get fidgety, or you can feel them, they've already lost interest. And then you sort of feel yourself tailing off. You just stop talking altogether because you can feel they've left the building, quite literally. So when we're in these quasi relationships, it looks like you having to go the extra mile to get what you need. And that isn't you being needy. That's just decent. So this could be with your clients. This could be with people who work for you. Let's say that you've got a team, or you've got colleagues, or you are the boss and you've got people, coming in and working for you. If you're constantly having to email them, asking them for things that are just basic information and they're giving you very short answers, if you're having to pedal hard and you're receiving very little back in the way of support, in the way of, it could be money, right? Somebody paying you, where you're overdoing, you're overgiving, and they're giving very little back. And perhaps they're expecting you to do even more for them. And that might be helping them to understand their feelings, processing their life for them, talking to them for them. Maybe they only call you or contact you when they want something from you. If you've had a lot of these quasi relationships, they're great in some ways, right? The person's lovely, they're loyal, they're fun, they're not out to get you, they're not out to annihilate you, they're not out to hurt you, they're not doing anything that the narc was doing. But notice, are they giving me still what I want? Am I fully seen by this person? Do I feel loved? Do I feel safe? Do I feel like I could go to that person and say no, and it would be all right? Or do I still feel like I'm walking on eggshells a little bit about them? Because if I'm really honest, it's still all about them. Both of us know that it's still all about them. These are quasi relationships. These are your halfway house relationships, right? Where they're not quite narky, but they're not actually what you deserve and what you want and what you've been hoping for. Don't stay stuck here. Don't think that that's what relationships are, right? If you think that's what relationships are, you are going to think that this is all the planet has to offer you. And it isn't. It really isn't. You can have flourishing relationships by actually going, wait a minute, this isn't okay for me. Is this enough for me? Yeah, nah, it's not. I don't want to have these kinds of relationships where I'm drained. Do you look forward to seeing this person? If the honest answer is no, it's probably in one of those quasi relationships, because you know that you're going to leave feeling worse and they're going to leave feeling better. It may be that this person genuinely doesn't have the same ability that you have to give in the relationship, to maybe they don't want it in the relationship, to trade ideas in the relationship, to support you in the relationship. Maybe you've got different consciousness levels, right? One's not higher than the other. It's just you're too different. Sometimes it works. You can be very, very different and it works. But ultimately, if you are fully loyal and fully wanting a relationship, whether it's a friendship or it's romantic or it's work-wise, but that other person is kind of, like their effort is minimal. They're not really making much of an effort. If you find yourself over talking, over giving, see if you can pull back. And in my experience, when you pull back, that's when you're going to see if it is a reciprocal relationship, if it is an equal energy exchange. Because when you pull back, that person would lean in, right? You lean back, see if that person leans in. If they don't, you're doing too much of the work. You're doing 80 and maybe they're doing 20. Okay, so these quasi relationships are fantastic because they teach us what we will and will not accept. You don't have to accept this. There's nothing wrong with that person, but it may be simply, if you are really honest, are they for you truly? And if they are a quasi relationship, then you're probably not for them either. And so I like to have people in my inner world where I don't need to try hard. I don't need to be on my A game. I can turn up in any mood and I know I'm just going to be loved and nourished and feel better when I leave. I know the other person gets that from me, but it's like, what will I actually receive from this? And you're probably somebody that never really even thinks about that, but you're aware of it after you walk away. You go, oh, wait a minute. We just talked about her, or we just talked about him, or I just helped him. Right? And when I need somebody, where are they? So with these quasi relationships, brilliant, right? Celebrate them. If you're in it, hooray. You're no longer in the narky ones. You're in the halfway house. Some of these quasi relationships shift as you heal and shift. You get closer and closer, and they become more and more amazing. And as you shift and rise up, some of these you're going to leave, right? Some of them you're going to vibrate out and you're going to leave behind. With these quasi relationships, bless them, enjoy them, but know that there is a whole nother band of relationships. And I call them flourishing friendships, right? If we're talking about friendships, where it takes no effort and you're seen and you're loved and you're cherished and you're celebrated, and the person is just truly honest with you and you're really, truly honest with them. You can be really honest in the relationship as to how you took something, how you feel, how their actions impacted you. And they can do the same to you. They can tell you how they feel. They can tell you how your actions impacted them. And all that does is bring you closer and closer and closer together, because both of your intentions is a mutual love. You both want to make each other's lives better. You both want to really enjoy your time together. And so there's nothing you can't say. There is total freedom to be yourself. And you're completely emotionally safe to show all the aspects of you. So you don't always have to be soft and sweet. You can be hard and gnarly. You can be fucked off. You can be kind of sensual and feminine. You don't have to be all just masculine and hard and I've got it together. You can be all the aspects of yourself. And I'm going to say to you that quite often you won't know you can do that until you do it. And that means being willing to risk being hurt again, being rejected again, being abandoned again, or being discarded, right? And that's okay. We have to take risks. You won't know that you can be fully you with somebody unless you try. And then you will truly know if they're a quasi relationship or are they a flourishing kind of relationship where both of you are flourishing in that friendship, in that relationship. It's not just one, it's you as well. So some of these issues that we've brought through from narc abuse means that this relationship maybe you're thinking of right now, it's not that it's narcissistic, but maybe the other person's still getting more out of it than you are. Maybe this other person still wants to see you more than you want to see them because they leave happy and you're left depleted. Okay. And so there's still an energy disparity where they have the energy and you don't. That's not the kind of relationship that's even. Either you're not being fully you enough, right? And actually allowing yourself to receive. So have a look and see how much of this quasi relationship is you, but how much is them? Because sometimes there's only enough explaining that we can do, or interrupting in a conversation, right? So that we actually get some airtime if they've just spoken for hours and hours, and that's what they always do, and they never speak to us. Before we go, you know what? You're not hearing me. I hope that really, really helps you. And I'm just waving to somebody outside. I hope that really, really helps you to really discern, because if you write down everybody in your life and you go, who is it that I look forward to seeing? It might surprise you. And if there's not many people on that list, I'm going to put it to you that you're having more quasi relationships than the genuine ones. And that's okay, right? Because you're on this journey. This is just that little in-between stage. It's not how it's always going to be. You don't have to try really, really hard. All you need to do is trust how you feel when you're around them and open yourself up to the kinds of relationships that you actually know that you deserve. And they are out there. There are really incredible people right now who are looking for somebody just like you. And it's your job now to trust that, to know that, and to start allowing yourself to let the real people in that are going to love you, that are going to respect you, that are going to just, yeah, love you, just love every last drop of you, and who really see you and how beautiful you actually are. So the next time you walk away from them, you feel full, you feel happy, you feel energized, and you are completely flourishing in your relationships because you utterly deserve to. Loads of love, beautiful soul.